With the rumors swirling around that Elon Musk is going to be unveiling a made in China, very first one, made in China Tesla Model 3 this week, I'm starting to wonder, is this a beginning of many manufacturers, and probably led by Tesla, moving their production fully to China? Could there be Tesla Model 3 fully made in China and then exported to the United States and Europe and so forth? There's a pretty strong case to be made there, especially because another manufacturer just started this week manufacturing all of their cars in China and then exporting them. Also, I'm going to play you a clip from Munro, my interview with him, and his opinion on what he thinks is going to happen with car manufacturing in the United States. So let's unpack this kind of developing story right now. Hi, ni hao ma! Welcome to E4Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news, still manufactured here in the United States, but I make no promises. All right, so let's talk about what's happening. So yes, I already told you that Elon Musk is going to Shanghai in the next week or so. He's going to be speaking at the Global Artificial Intelligence Conference, and he's going to be unveiling, kind of bringing the boring company to China as well. But there's rumors that he'll be also unveiling the very first Model 3 that's made in China, and there are pictures that have leaked out, and there's a video that I retweeted that leaked out of the factory. As you can see, here's one, and there's like maybe a couple of them there, that they are making really big progress, and this is absolutely unbelievable. There's nothing like that would have happened in the United States. And this is refreshing, because Tesla is actually ahead of their own schedule, or even on time, is amazing. So, but it's happening, so there will be no surprise. And again, even if it's happening in the next couple of months and not necessarily this week, this is big news. And as you know, Byton, also the sponsor of this channel, this is their factory. I believe this was taken a couple of months ago. As you can see, it's pretty much finished. So things happen really quickly in China. And as you know, Byton is a brand that's also planning on producing the cars fully and in China, and then moving it, exporting it to Europe, United States, and everywhere around the world. So that's something to think about. Now I've been to China myself, and I gotta tell you, there's me right there, and yes, it is Tom Malogny from Inside TV's photobombing me, which reminds me, watch him on this channel every Saturday. Plugged In with Tom Malogny is that's what we're calling the segment. But I've been there, and the manufacturing and the facilities that I've seen there, and just overall auto industry, because I went to the CES and I was part of the, I was checking out the part of the CES that was dedicated to automotive development. People have I think, wrong impression of what's happening in there. It is all state of the art. It is a humongous industry in there. There's a reason why brands like BYD, for example, you might have never heard of BYD until maybe you watch this channel. But this is a picture I took of them. They actually brought this car, Tang EV, to Monterey Car Week for some reason. But they're number one electric car manufacturer and seller in the world, even though they just sell in China. And by the way, this video that I took of the vertical horizontal monitoring positioning, like I think I got like 100,000 views on this, which is a cool feature, right? So BYD, there's another brand called Bike. They're also second manufacturer, largest manufacturer producing electric cars in the world. So they don't need us. Really, yeah, they can really make a lot of money just selling in China. And that's why Tesla is moving there, partially right now. But it's starting to get really, really, compelling. Now, I know we got a tariff war going on between, Trump administration and China. We don't know where it's going to end. But even if things are going to stay the same, where there will be 15, even maybe 25% tariff of cars coming to the United States and having to pay that, the cost of making these cars there might just overcome that in the delivery and all of that stuff, because it's just so cheap and fast to make these cars there and then import them here, that might just be where it's going to happen from now on. But don't take my word from it. I've interviewed Munro, as you remember, a few months ago, and let me play you a clip of what he said about what's going to be happening with American manufacturing and whether or not people should be taking the manufacturing in China seriously. Of course, before that, let me remind you once again that this video on this channel is sponsored by Byton. Check out their Chinese-made all-electric SUV, going to be made in Nanjing, China, starting at only $45,000, coming to the US and Europe after they start production in China. So make sure to reserve yours. It has zero money down. There is no deposit required. So go to the description of this video and reserve your Byton today. All right, so let me play a clip of Sandy Munro where he talks about what he believes is going to be happening with manufacturing of cars that are being manufactured right now in the US and maybe even Europe, and whether or not they're going to be migrating to China. Here we go.
Don't think for a second that we're not going to be seeing, especially if the buying public decides to go to electric. It's going to be damn hard, really hard to compete with what I've seen in China. They don't have old crappy factories. They got brand new factories. Those factories are spectacular, and they're loaded with German machine tools and whatnot. They sell machine tools to the Americans, but when it comes to what they want for their production, they go to Germany and they buy the Germany and Switzerland. They buy the absolute best. They're not fooling around. I mean, if you want to say that we're in a war, yeah, it's an economic war. It's not going to be bombs and bullets. It's going to be basically RMB and dollars. That's what it's going to be. And quite frankly, I don't hold up an awful lot of when I compare executives that I've talked to in Japan, Korea, China, and I compare them to a lot of the executives I meet over here. There's no comparison. These guys get up every morning and brush their teeth with blood or something. They're really into it. They really want to win. They want to be on top.
This guy knows what he's talking about, and there is really. I did have to say that when he said that, I was a little surprised, because yes, overall I could see the trend going that way, and of course we don't know what's going to be going with the tariff stuff. But when he says something like that, I would say there's a pretty big truth to it. And let me also tell you about the a new brand, Polestar. By the way, they just got certified as a separate manufacturing brand. They are technically owned by Volvo, but Polestar from now on. They just started production of their Polestar 1, which is a plug-in hybrid that will essentially be the plug-in hybrid with the longest electric car range. They just started production in their facility in China as well. So this is pretty much fully produced in China, and they will going to be exporting it to other parts of the world. Of course, we also know that they are going to be making the Polestar 2, which will be sort of a direct competitor to Tesla Model 3. That's going to also be fully manufactured in China, not specifically in that facility, in a different city, but it's just going to be exported all over the world from their facility in China. So it is not a far-fetched plan that the general, and here let me just break it down why this is so sort of appealing to companies. Factories are built much faster there. There's tons and tons of cheap labor, obviously. You can export, you can sell cars there, and there's a huge market. We're talking about electric cars. There's a huge market, lots of incentive for electric cars in China. They require more and more manufacturers to have a certain percentage of cars to be all electric or plug-in hybrid electric, and that number raises every year. So just for that humongous market, just like Tesla just moved to China, their Gigafactory 3, there is more and more incentives to do that. And then even exporting it to other countries, the tariffs are just not that bad. The savings that they get in China just, can easily offset most of the tariffs. Yes, I know we're still got to figure out what's going to be going with tariffs, but right now, just for the market in China, it's and here's the thing with Fremont factory with Tesla. If we're just specifically talking about Tesla, they need space. And I know they're talking about factories in Germany and in other places, and that's great. But they need to make the Roadster somewhere. They need to make the semi truck somewhere, and Fremont factory is basically more than full. So at one point, once the tariffs are settled, if you're just making the Tesla Model 3 overseas in China and everything else is made here, for the time being, that may not just be a bad solution until everything else may be moving to China. I don't want to speak more than 5 years ahead because I think that's a bit of a unreasonable prediction, even with uneducated guesses that I've been hearing around, including Sandy Munro's. However, it is definitely a possibility, and who knows? We don't know what if we're going to have a different administration, in a couple of years, and if they're going to take any steps. Of course, European Union and European countries have their own thing going on. Of course, they're also struggling with this. But let me know in the comment section. First of all, would you buy a car that's made in China, just like you would buy your cell phone and pretty much everything else that you buy at this point, right? Or do you think cars are different? If you think cars are different, then let me know why, because like Sandy mentioned, their manufacturing facilities are many times just better than ours. So don't forget to get our VIP list, of course. Go to e4electric.com/VIP. That's absolutely free. Bonus stories every Saturday. All right. Looking forward to your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time. And remember to stay charged.